Okay, y'all, I'm not sure if this is working. IT guy's gonna let me know here in just a minute. Since I know things go a little wonky, I am putting in my AirPods and I will explain why, assuming that I'm live. So I'm gonna leave that up to IT guy. How we doing there, IT guy? You can talk to me. You're on AirPods if I'm not live. Otherwise, I guess I'm live. I told him to hang up if I was live. So, IT guy, just let me know for sure in chat that that everything's okay. I don't know what to tell you guys. It's been a couple of days. What can I say? So, as y'all know, we had some tornado warnings around here. And what we eventually had figured out was we had what's called a derecho. And, woohoo! All right. So, we had something called a derecho earlier this week. And it wreaked havoc. So, on the day of the derecho was also a new moon and a solar eclipse. So, if you believe in that kind of stuff, the cosmos were in an uproar. And that extended to what was going on. Hey, Joan, how are ya? So I was just explaining that, like, Tuesday we had, it has now been confirmed, we had a derecho. I need a garbage bag. I'll be right back, you guys. So we had a derecho here, and there were lots of straight line winds, and there was in Indiana, that's where our friend Ruby is from, there was an 18-wheeler that was blown over on the highway. So, hey Ruby, just talking about your state. I saw that there, and I don't know if, like, again, I don't know where you are in the state, but we saw on the news, we were talking about the derecho that came through, and there was a truck, an 18-wheeler, that got, it was blown over on the highway. Literally just driving along, got blown over on its side. It was crazy. My son lives in Columbus, and they're fine, but there were parts of Columbus that are just, it looks like there was a tornado if there wasn't, but, so yeah, that was also the same day as a solar eclipse and a new moon, and, it was a wild one, friends. It was a wild one, and our tech is all mixed up, and poor IT guy is trying to help us from across the country, and he and my husband were on. My husband was home yesterday because there was no electricity at work. They lost electricity on Tuesday, had no electricity on Wednesday, and finally got it back at noon today. So, and I'm a little behind because they worked for 2 hours yesterday, could not get us online. And so then IT guy and I had some new problems today. So you all good where you are, Ruby? I hope. We were lucky. We didn't lose power. We had somewhere between 150 and 200,000 people lose power around here. So. And even Wednesday morning, there were still 130,000 without power. It was such a mess. So anyway, crazy business. But we are back. And the funny part was, both of those days I had to get ready for streams. So I made what I was going to. I probably should have taken some pictures, but I was just so frazzled with not being able to get online and stuff. So I'm going to go a little heavy on the onions today, just so you guys know. I'm supposed to do 2 cups. I'm going to do 3 onions, which will be close to 2 cups, maybe a little more. And Mr. 513, you know how he is with his onions, so he doesn't care if there's extra. So, good. Glad to hear that. So glad to hear that, Ruby, that you guys are doing okay. It was a very wild weather day for sure over here. But I know some of our friends over in the UK got to see a really cool, it was as good as it was around here a couple years ago. got to see the full solar eclipse, which is just so cool. And it's funny because my daughter-in-law's mom, she's like, I got emotional. She's like, gosh, we were part of something really important, it feels like. And I was like, yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. I feel the same way. So you almost got emotional seeing it because it's just this really cool natural phenomenon. So anyway, because that's a better thing to talk about than the terrible weather. So, oh wow, so yours was way worse than ours. Okay, like I said, most of ours was north of here. So I am so sorry to hear that, Ruby. That's awful. Because we've been through that kind of stuff. So it's no fun, but I'm really glad you guys are okay. I guess I better check on my middle son's in-laws live in Indianapolis. They're currently in Minneapolis, but they live in Indianapolis. I'll have to check and see how they all fared, and they have family in Indiana as well. So, oh gosh, that's just awful. And all I really need to do with this is, it just says sliced. So we're just doing slices today. It does say thinly. Mine aren't exactly super thin. Also, if the audio is a little weird, this is your audio input today. Because we actually had to buy a different software because our software won't work on my phone. So until IT guy gets home, this is going to be our setup for a while. Yeah, ugh, gosh. The flooding is... Honestly, I've been through tornadoes, which are terrible to clean up from. I've, been through storms like this before. Flooding is gross. It's nasty. It's awful. If you've never been through flooding, especially river flooding, it's really muddy, and then the mud gets moldy. You have to clean out fast. And that was something we learned from the Red Cross. The Red Cross brought us buckets, and no help, but they brought us buckets and bleach to clean up our basements because they said get it done, especially if you have kids. You need to get that before you need to get to the mud before the mud molds and gets to you. So I was like, oh, that's nice. So there's a lot to be said. So for that. And yeah, flooding, it's hard to run from a flood. So it's hard to hide from a flood. Because, you can only go so high sometimes. So, anyway, and there wasn't enough warning there's a lot of flash flooding for those who are not around here. Yeah, I'm coming. Alright, crabby. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put the lentils in there. Like I said, we're going to use a little more than called for, I do believe. You know what, that actually looks like 2 cups. I'll chop those up for something else later. So, anyway, flash flooding is some scary stuff. So we are going to get those started. I wanted to get them started beforehand, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So I am actually going to take these guys, now that they're in there and they got some butter and stuff going on. I'm going to put those on the stove. And we're going to do another piece of the puzzle here. I'm going to put those on right around medium, and I'll check on them every once in a while. I'm going to move this to the side for right now. Rinse off the knife. Okay, so now there's 2 parts to this soup. This is the Outback Walkabout Onion Soup. So good, you guys, so good. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a roux. So actually a white sauce, not just a roux. We're going to start with a roux. The onion was in there. We're going to do some butter. We're going to let that melt. But anyway, I've actually had this recipe for years, and I've been wanting to try it, and I never did. So you guys are giving me a reason to try it. And by the way, I'm using Vidalia onions. They're nice and sweet, which I like. So, you could use whatever you wanted. If you like a little more bite to it, you could use even a red. White onions, you know what's really interesting about white onions, and I just learned this, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, that if you like white onions, but they're a little too strong for you, that if you soak them in water for about 30 minutes, slice them, then soak them in water for 30 minutes and drain them, they'll be a lot milder. Yep, that's, now was your flooding in New Orleans, was that from the Gulf? And was it muddy or sandy? I mean, I think you guys have more sandy type stuff, but if you're up into the, you know, where the Delta is, where Pontchartrain is, then you're gonna have that wet, muddy flood water. That was one of the, I've done the Skyway Bridge down in Tampa once. I am not a big fan of bridges where you lose sight of water. Not when you're up high and you lose sight of water, so you're like, that's not fun. But the bridge from Lake Pontchartrain to it goes between New Orleans and Covington, Louisiana. And oh man, the first time I went over that thing scared the daylights out of me. So it was crazy. Wild ride. I'm like, when are we going to see land? My husband thought it was funny. I did not. I can laugh about it now, but it was not funny then. I may have called him some names. They would have been PG names because my kids would have been in the car, but names nonetheless. So anyway. Alrighty. Oh, and by the way, something the Nightbot reminded me of this. We're going to go 4 days a week through the end of August, for sure. Beyond that, I'm not quite sure what we're going to do because YouTube, in their infinite wisdom, has changed their algorithm. Now, if you're not familiar with that, what happens when they change their algorithm is often the things that used to be shown to people a lot are no longer shown to people. So in our particular case, because apparently the AI people have gotten really good at doing live video to get a lot of views, they're throttling smaller creators that are going live. So where I used to get on average, we used to get 4,000 to 7,000 people on a stream, which usually resulted in somewhere between 7 to 10 subscribers per live. By the way, if you're not subscribed, please do. If now we are down to, we're lucky to get 1,000 to 2,000. And don't get me wrong, I love having you guys here, and I love especially my regulars, you know, especially, gosh, we've got Beyond, Ruby, and Joan, and Christy. We've got Mama Bear, and we've got, everybody's escaping me. I can remember where they're from, like Arizona. We've got Ella, who comes in from the UK. Yuck, rodents and snakes. No fun, no fun. Okay, we're just still cooking out that cooked smell, if you will. I'm gonna go stir while that's going for just a sec, I'm gonna go stir the soup, or the onions, that will become soup. You don't really want them to brown, so you just want them to wilt a little bit and get soft. So I got one that's a little brown. It's okay. Not burnt, just brown, but they are starting to wilt, so that's good. That's what we need them to do. Come back to this guy. Okay, we cooked out the, so we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. It's just what we're going to do. We're not going to stop doing lives. We just might do a couple less a week. We might be doing 2 or 3 instead of 4. So we're just thinking about it, because what we're going to need to do is be more consistent with videos that we do every week. So we will be doing that. So you're not going to lose, we're not going to lose touch, I promise. It's just that the lives have, unfortunately, they were doing great for us. They were helping us build the channel, and now they're not as much. So that's a bummer. But we do what we have to do. And IT Guy and I are just kind of devising a plan of what we're going to do over the next several weeks to deal with that and to deal with what YouTube is doing. The other thing done is, as of February of next year, they have doubled the number of watch hours you have to get to be monetized. So I know, I agree, Joe. Just leave well enough alone. But I do understand there's AI slop out there, and that's the last thing you want, is to give your viewers slop. So if anything, we need to be mad at the creators who are, you know, there's a term, and I'm sure you all know it, called, AI. As somebody said, I want AI to learn how to do laundry and fold my clothes, not be my creativity. So I'm going to turn these onions down. Get it all brown. Okay. And I think we're all kind of that mind that, you know, AI is great and all, but I don't want them to take over creativity. Creativity is a very human thing. And it's so individualized. And, you know, Joan's a painter, so she knows. I mean, you don't want an AI doing painting for you. You want to see what a human does, what they do with their brush strokes. Because AI can't vary its brush strokes unless it's programmed to do so. You know? It's very mechanical. But anyway. Plus, yeah, Ruby and I live in the states where they want to put data centers everywhere. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Alright, are you going to thicken up like you're supposed to? It's making me wonder if I did this wrong. So anyway, I just want to let you know that if the changes come, I will try to give you plenty of notice as we make our choices and do our absolute best to get monetized here in the next couple of months, so that I can keep my AI guy, or IT guy, instead of being taken over by AI. These things. Yes, personal crap, inside beauty. That's exactly right. So you can do some fun things. Like Photoshop, you can do some funny things, you can do some fun things. I get it. You know, I remember the first time I could take red eye out of a photo. As somebody with blue eyes, blue-gray eyes, I think half the photos ever taken of me in my young life were I look like a demon because I have red eyes. So, you know, that's nice when I could correct for red eye. But, you know, I'm also a child of the 70s and 80s, and Skynet's a real thing to me. Anywho, and my husband and I say that with every like jump of technology, we just look at each other and go, "Rise of Skynet." So, and you know, it's funny, but it's not in a way. So, nah, I will tell you, I don't think Joan is left-handed. I'm pretty sure she's right-handed, and so am I. And we sometimes think a little deeper than is good for our psyche sometimes too, Ruby. I get it. I totally get it. So, all right. I'm not gonna switch. I'm gonna bring the onions back. I'm gonna put this on a nice low heat to keep going and doing its thing. And then we're gonna prep this for that sauce. So, to these lovely onions. Oh, here we go. We're gonna rock and roll. Remember how that does that? All right. So they're softened. They're a tiny bit brown, but that's okay. They'll still taste okay. Right, we are gonna add 15 ounces of chicken broth. Water. And then I have, it says 2 chicken bouillon cubes. I don't really use chicken bouillon cubes. I do use some Chinese bouillon in a couple of my recipes, so I have that. And if you follow me on Facebook, you'll know this is the part of the can that fell and went everywhere. But I picked it up immediately, so this stuff was never on the ground. I always feel the need to say things like that. So, anywho, so then we've got those bouillon cubes. Also into the sink we go. And we're going to add some pepper to that. I don't know if you've ever had this Walkabout Onion Soup from Outback. Oh, so good. We were so disappointed when they took this off the menu. We're going to heat that through. Okay. Then we are going to add, and the recipe calls for this, a 1/4 cup of Velveeta cheese. And we are going to stir that and let it melt. Also into the dishwater. I'm going to break that up a little bit. Do its thing. Oh, yeah, it really did. You know, the sad part was they actually could sing, but they were given such a sound with the guys who sang for them that when they tried to sing for themselves, people weren't willing to accept it. And I feel really bad for them because I know the one member, he had mental health problems the rest of his life, and that stinks. So. Oh, it smells good. It's starting to smell really, really good. So, let's see if it's going to thicken up enough. That's the question. So, yeah, it sure does right now, doesn't it? But I am reminded of the last of the last line of the original Terminator. Okay, those are not my kind of movies necessarily. But I have to tell you, that was like the first movie, and I watched it with my dad, and my dad always was like, I think I scared my dad a little bit, because yes, I am you know, feminist is not a dirty word. I think if a woman does the same job as a man, she deserves the same pay. Radical. Sorry. Being a little sassy. But I don't, you know, I mean, I'm like, that's a weird thing to be against to me. So, anyway, and the fact that don't know if you guys know, but I actually wrote a book about motherhood. And the name of the book is Everyday Heroes of Motherhood. And I wrote about a whole lot of people that I know, very different kinds of moms, all very successful moms in different ways. And one of the stories in there is about me and my best friend from high school. And we've known each other since we were 12. So we're at 51 years now. Is that right? Yeah, 51 years. All right, I'm going to pop this on the stove so we can go on to the next thing. That's got to cook for about 30 minutes, it says. And we'll check on that every little bit. Next, we're going to get out. I need to turn this way down because it's going to be a few minutes before we're ready for it. Okay. So, we are going to... That'll work. No, sorry. Forgive me. I just realized I forgot to get something out, and so I need to use something else. And I need something that doesn't have, like, I need it to have a flat bottom. Oh, there we go. Alright, because we're going to need a little bit of, I use tamari, gluten-free. You can use, it's called Everyday Heroes of Motherhood. But anyway, back to the story about my best friend and I. I came up, graduated from high school in 1981. So when I came up, we were in the middle of the big old mommy wars. And my best friend has worked since she was 14 years old. And she was, once she had kids, she was pregnant. She got an opportunity for a really good job, and she took it. And then about 2 years later, 27 months actually, she had another child and went back to work. And I had my first child just a little over a year after she had her second, and I opted to stay home. And when her kids were about I don't know, what would they have been, about 2.5 and 3.5, because mine was just a little guy. He was still crawling, so maybe not even, her kids may not even been that old. But I went over to her house because the kids had a preschool holiday, and they were home, and she didn't have a babysitter. And so I said, well, let's get together for lunch. And her kids each had a friend over, and she was trying to get them to come to the table for lunch, right? And she couldn't do it. And so I said, well, tell you what. I said, you watch him, make sure he doesn't crawl away while you're finishing up lunch. I'll go get the kids. You know what? I need this on the other hand. I said, I'll go get the kids, and you just watch him. She's like, okay. So I went, I got her kids, and got them upstairs, got their hands washed, got them at the table, and she's just sitting there looking at me. And I'm like, what? And she said, how did you do that? I said, do what? And she said, how'd you get him to the table like that? Okay, what I did, and if you've ever been home with a kid, you find ways. So like, we were singing a song, and we were marching, and we were being silly, and so we were doing all those things. And I remember thinking in that moment that she could never do what I did. That being at home with her kids all day would suck the life out of her. That didn't mean she was a bad person. It just wasn't for her. And the other thing is, I know my friend. She is a kind, generous, decent person. And I realized that her her going to work made her a better mom. And at the same time, I knew that if I had gone to work, I wouldn't have done well with split loyalties. That just wasn't me. And I realized that whatever your situation was, if you did what made you a better mom, you're a better mom for it. So I gave up on the mommy wars that day of saying, I just don't understand. I just don't understand. Because you know, I did understand. I immediately understood. Just from hanging out with my friends. So it was really, and I've had so many encounters like that of different moms. And you know, one of my friend Mary, who passed earlier this year, she and I had a moment like that in motherhood. By all metrics, let's call it that, Mary should have been a statistic. She was a single mom. She was a woman of color. Dad was never really in the picture. And she raised one of the most extraordinary young men. She really and truly did. And I remember saying one time, because she really just was a great mom. She really was. She knew how to deal with him. She was calm. She was really amazing. And I said to her one day, you know, I just want you to know, I watch you and I think you're a really great mom and I've learned a lot from you. And she said, back at you. And I said, what? And I forget what I had said I actually learned from her. And I think what I said I learned from her was patience and kindness and just really. And she said, well, I learned a lot from you too. And I said, really? And she said, oh yeah. She said, you are one of the people I know that truly lets your children be who they are. You don't try to make them be like each other. You let them be who they are. And I always thought that was really cool. I was like, that's a great compliment as a mom when you have multiple children, that you're not trying to make them all be the same. Because I love all of my children dearly. They all have things that I absolutely admire. And they all have things that I'm like, okay, this is what it is. And I think anybody with children has that, where you're like, there's these things you just adore about your kids, and there's these other things you're like, okay, you obviously gave me this to help me learn a few things. So anyway, all right. So we've got the tamari in here, so we can just glaze it a little bit, and then I'm gonna pour out the rest of this tamari sauce, and then I'm gonna wash my hand off. That might be the mailman coming, so I apologize in advance if it is. So Barky 1 and Barky 2 are gonna go at it. So, and then this. Okay, I could put all these things in here, like, let's see, here's the list that has to go in. Black sesame seeds, white sesame seeds, coarse black pepper, kosher salt, garlic powder, ground ginger, which is optional, a tablespoon of, yeah, that's it. Okay, or I could take some everything bagel seasoning, and then I'm adding some extra black sesame seeds, regular sesame seeds, and some more pepper. So I'm going to turn this up now. And I am only going to do one of these because now some of the recipes will tell you to cook it and then cool it. We don't like it cold. I mean, I'll get it cold at Outback, and that's how I did get it. But once we started making our own and we could make it hot, we like it better that way. So anyway, so I'm gonna get this all coated up. I can always add more for Mr. 513 later if I want to. So. But anyhow, so. Alright, looks like it's getting pretty. space a little bit. Okay. Sear, baby, sear. Hang on, I'm gonna go stir the soup again. You guys are being crazy. Okay, this is not getting enough like I was hoping. That root didn't take today. I don't know why. Sorry to keep having to go off camera. That's amazing what a few days off does for me, or to my brain. So you don't want to cook it too much, and you can see when the bottom is just starting to cook up. That's the nice thing. If you leave the thing, if you leave the sides open like that, which you don't have to, I just like to. I like to get a good sear on it. I'm gonna flip it. For about a minute or so. Actually, I think what I'm going to do, because this is going to stay hot, and I'll just sear the edges. This is like, I love getting this at Outback. I don't know about you guys, but this was like one of my favorite things to get. This and the soup, and usually by the time my food came, I was full. So, all right, I'm going to pop this off of here. I'll get it off the heat. Get this back over here. We can work on this because it is not thick at all. Yeah. Oh no, it's too hot. I know. Ooh. It immediately goes to boil, and I don't want it to boil because of the. Oh gosh, Ruby, no, we don't need that mop to be doing silly stuff. Bummer. Okay, while we're waiting for that to cool down a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and, because it's not thickening up, I am going to add some cream cheese. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully that'll do it. Put just a couple ounces in and that'll thicken it up because every time we add cheese, we're adding a little fat too. So. Oh, good. Glad to hear that, Ruby. We do not need any more scary weather this week. It's August. We're not supposed to have weather like this in August. This is like, that kind of scary weather from Tuesday, that was like April weather around here. You know what I'm saying? So, adding a little bit of that cheese in there, the cream cheese, to hopefully thicken it up just a tad. So, and if it's, the thing is, this is one of those, I'm betting that if it's a little thick now, that once it sits in my refrigerator overnight, it won't be near as thick. So, we'll definitely have to portion this out so Mr. 513 and I can have some more. Although he's got, well, he'll have a full day of work tomorrow probably. Fridays, they used to get half a day off, so. Yes, I've been to Ale House, and yes, they do a amazing ahi. So, yeah, my brother lives in Orlando. We've been to Ale House a few times. So I'm going to leave it at that, even if it's not as thick as I would like it to be, so that we can kind of put everything together here. I'm going to grab ahi out of the pan. Mr. 513 gets so sad when he comes home and he's gotta, like, all he has is food that he can warm up. So he will be so happy when he comes home and he'll get to have his fish freshly cooked. Because I don't know about you, but I do not like fish when it's warmed up. Just, if I can't get it perfectly hot, no thank you. Move this over to the side because I'm going to let it continue to cook, and hopefully it will thicken up a bit for him. Not that he'll care. He'll just be glad I made a meal. So, but I'm sure he'll add more pepper because he is him. So, yeah. Well, Ruby, were you around in '73? I don't know how much our ages are different, but I think we're really close. But I think '73 did us all in a little bit. So, you know, Outback, actually Ale House was, I think, where I had it the first time. And it is, I think fish in general, you have to pick somewhere that you trust to make good fish. So I'm going to put together a really quick sauce here. This is a version of soy ginger sauce. Most of them call for just a little bit of hoisin sauce, and I don't have any gluten-free. I found some once, and then I've never found it again. So, but most of them have a little bit of mayonnaise, a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of rice vinegar, obviously ginger. I don't have fresh, so we're using a little bit of ginger paste. I went into the market to buy that for a while. A little bit of sesame oil, which I need to fill up tonight. And then I'm going to add just a tiny bit. Okay. Thai sweet chili sauce. Well, I'll tell you something, Ruby. There's a term called generational trauma, and sometimes I believe it, that we sometimes carry the wounds of our parents, especially if they went through something really difficult when they were pregnant with us, and that was a difficult time. I will 100% say that. Alright, I'm gonna grab my whisk. Clean that off real quick. Give that a whisk, see if I can get that mayonnaise to break up a little bit. So, but yeah, that April of 1973 it was wild, let me tell you. So that actually looks pretty close. Maybe a little more than vinegar. That's enough. Nobody's here. I'm telling you, nobody's here. It's too early for him to be home. Especially after being out of work for a day and a half. Ooh, that was good. Yep, I think we got that. So, and then I'm going to stir up the soup again. You know what? I'm going to eat my tuna first. I'm going to eat it backwards. Usually I would eat soup and then my meal, but this time I'm going to eat because that cheese is still breaking down. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this up, and we'll just do that. So I love a rare tuna. I know some people don't, but it just flaked right off. So it's not super rare, but now I know a lot. Excuse me. Oh wow, that was a really fishy bite. All right, let's try the other bite. I may not be eating this if the next bite is that fishy. Which is a bummer because yesterday was garbage day. Now, my husband won't mind it if it's that fishy, but I don't like it that fishy. Yeah, that bite's not fishy at all. So, the pups only get weird, if you will, when the thunder's really loud, like claps of thunder. The rolling thunder, they're not too bad, but those claps of thunder, that freaks them out. Oh, that's good. See, it's on the rare side, but not what I would call rare. So I'm going to put that to the side. Okay, I'll take that. That's so good. Okay. I think it's important to be honest about that stuff. Like I said, that first bite was not good. It was fishy. And I'm not a fan of fishy. So, alright, try to get this last little bits of the cream cheese to assimilate, if you will. It is thickening up, though. I do like that. That's good. So, yeah, me too, Joe. I love it rare. As a matter of fact, I love tuna sushi, which is raw. So, not a fan of salmon. Wish I was. Wish I liked it. Ah, I wish I liked salmon. It's so good for you. There's several things that are very good for you. I wish I either liked or could eat because I'm allergic. I love raspberries. And I developed an allergy as an adult to raspberries. And then blackberries I just am allergic to as well. And avocado. And I like all of those things. But I also had an anaphylactic situation as a child. And so the minute I eat something, I know what that feels like, and I will stop immediately. So I'm not going to take too much of the soup because I would like for him to be able to eat something. I made it so it was only about 4 servings, which is good. Turn it down. Cream cheese in there. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. None of us want gas station sushi, right, Joe? Anyway, this calls for some extra cheddar cheese on top. So yeah, it's quite cheesy. Which is funny because I made mac and cheese yesterday and I was like, it's cheese upon cheese upon cheese. It's supposed to be a copycat recipe for Chick-fil-A, and I gluten-freed it, of course, but all right, let's give this a little bit more pepper. Another one that's pretty good that I remember eating was, I think it's hamachi. It's called hamachi, and it's pretty good. There's a place at Universal, and I've been there in I think North Carolina too. They've got one called Cowfish, and that's really, really good sushi. A friend of my brother's worked there, and he told us all the good things to order, so we did, and it was so good. So sushi was not something we grew up with. So as you can see, it did thicken up, which is good. So let's give it a try. Oh, y'all, that's close. That is really close. Maybe if I cook the onions a little bit slower. Oh, good. Oh, man. That is good. Okay. Okay, y'all, this is not hard to make. It really isn't. It's and I'll put the recipe in the description. I need to start doing that more regularly so you guys can have it and just be able to copy it. So wow, that is so good. I cannot wait to eat more of that, to be honest. If you're somebody who can eat gluten, it would be amazing with some like garlic croutons in there. For sure. Or a big piece of like crusty bread. Oh, it'd be so good with a piece of like sourdough. You know, that crusty bread where you could get it, you know, soften it up and stuff like that. So anyway, if you're missing those kind of Outback foods, this is so good. It will give you that flavor of the Walkabout Onion Soup. A lovely creamy onion soup. And that one's easy. You don't even need a recipe. You use some everything bagel seasoning, add some extra black and regular sesame seeds, and some egg pepper, and you are good to go. You can cover that up, sear it up, whatever kind of dipping sauce you want. So we did it. We did it in about an hour today, a little bit less than an hour, and we finally got back on the airwaves. So it could be a little wonky at the beginning of next week as we continue to navigate how this goes. I haven't really finished the recipes for next week because I'm going to try to go a little healthier, on the healthier side, a little bit lighter, so that we can all, you know, get these hot days of summer and not be eating a lot of hot food. So anyway, that's the hope. That's what I'm going to work on tomorrow. Let's put it that way. Trying to get a menu together that's light and delicious and wonderful. So today is my last day. Lovely. I love it when I make you guys hungry. I will be releasing a video at some point tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. We made gluten-free, what do you call them? Goldfish. Gluten-free goldfish. And I hear that sometime next year they will be releasing gluten-free goldfish, so we won't have to make them on our own, but it'll be fun to make them until we do. So anyway, I wish you guys a wonderful evening. As I always say, eat well, be well, and I will I think IT guy is gonna try to cut this off, so when he does, we'll see. Yes, you too, Joan. Have a great evening and a great weekend, and I will see you on the screen at some point. So you guys have a good one. I love you all. And thank you so much for hanging with us and for being patient. I really appreciate you. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one. Love you guys. Bye-bye.